Hey there, we're going to be putting our flute together today to make a sound. And just as a reminder, here's my flute. Let's talk about the parts again. We've got the head joint. We made all the sounds on the head joint the other day. We've got the longest part, which is the body. And we've got the shortest part, which is the foot. Today, we're actually going to start with the foot. Now remember, my foot joint has an extra key. So when you look at mine, just remember, that's what yours is probably going to look like. That's what mine looks like. Okay? All right. So let's talk about some of the things that you see. So the round things that you might think are buttons, we call those keys. All right? Those are keys. Sometimes they look funny, like a teardrop, or like mine have little rollers, or this fun looking thing. So those are the keys. These long silver parts, those are called rods. And the rods can bend easily, so be careful with them. They're made of metal. There's a bar that goes through them that operates all the keys. Okay? And then way up close, I think I can do this. There we go. Right underneath there, that's called a spring. You can see my finger kind of pressed against it. Your springs, sometimes they come unsprung, and when that happens, I've got a cute little tool that will help me spring them back in. But those you have to be gentle with too. So if you're ever cleaning your flute, just be very careful that you don't damage the springs. Okay, so let's start putting this thing together. So I have the shortest part, and I'm going to take out the longest part. Okay, I got to back up for this longest part. The part that does not have keys on it, I'm going to call the top. The part that does have keys all the way down, that's the bottom. The shortest part and the bottom of this flute go together. And there's a special way. Now you might think that your keys are supposed to line up somehow, but that's actually not true. I have to take the rod, there we go, that part right there, in between the keys actually, the rod, and I need to line it up with the center of this key. I'm going to do it back here for a moment. Notice I'm grabbing my flute up here so I don't bend everything. Okay, I put them together, I twist them together. I take a little bit of muscle. You can do it. And then notice where the parts go together. So the rod is straight down the center of my key. Oh, by the way, my keys have holes in them. Yours probably don't, or they might. Mine is just an upgraded flute because I've played the flute a long time. So this goes in the center of this key. Now let's do it the wrong way for a moment. I'm going to turn it so that the rods line up and the keys line up. That almost looks like it's the right way, doesn't it? Yeah, I think they did that to confuse us. Oh well. I'm going to do it the right way. So I'm going to turn the rod back so it's in the center. Okay, double check that that is correct for you. Okay, if you don't have it in the right spot, it might work for a moment, and then after a while, it's not going to work. Your fingers won't be able to reach the keys. All right, so let's take out our head joint. And the thing about the head joint, this is going to be a little hard to show on the computer here. You've got the hole. This hole is going to line up with your keys on your flute. So again, I'm going to put my head joint in, then I'll show you. Okay. Now, you don't have to like get out a ruler or whatever, but you'll notice that the hole here, if I go straight down my flute, lines up. Now I've got some wonky keys over here that kind of stick off to the side. That's okay. But it roughly goes in line, right? Okay. And then of course at the bottom, not that one. That one's the rod. Okay, so my flute is lined up and ready to go. All right, now here's how I want you to hold it for today. You're not going to put any fingers on keys exactly yet because that gets a little more complicated. That's the next one. So I'm going to ask you to put your flute upright on your knee, and I want you to take your left hand. Okay, your left hand. That's probably going to be backwards. I don't know. Anyway, your left hand, and you're going to kind of firmly hold it here. Don't squish the keys or anything. You're going to hold it here. I'm going to take your right hand down here. This is close to what you'll be doing eventually, okay? And then you're going to turn it so that it's over your right side. Remember we did this with the head joint. Goes to your right. Okay, that way. All right. So, this thing is heavy now. It's not the head joint anymore. It's a lot longer and heavier. So I can't let this part droop because remember when we had the head joint and we were blowing across it? Yeah, that's not gonna work. Ugh. And I don't want any tilty-headed flute players. Hi, I play the flute. No. So I'm gonna put the flute in the same spot. You're gonna get some like muscles. Yeah. All right, and put it up here. Same thing. I'm gonna go. Oh, remember this? Poo face to sound. Okay, let me think about that for a second. Okay, poo face to sound. Give it a shot, okay? And we'll go back and forth just like we did before. Notice that I haven't gotten any shorter. I don't play the flute like this. Although some days I want to. Our body, of course, is very nice and straight. Again, hold it up. Play it after me, okay? Oh, there we go. Do you notice those different sounds I'm making? Do you know why it was different? Well, the first time, when I was holding it, I closed a couple of the keys accidentally. And this time, I left some of them open. Doesn't matter, either way. But if you don't press any keys, I'm going to do this my magic floating way. I'm going to grab it with just one hand. This is how I hold it. This is the sound you should get. Okay, so sorry, we were going to go back and forth and I goofed something up. So here's the sound you want to play. Repeat after me. Okay, go ahead, your turn. Try it again. And again, remember the troubleshooting thing before I play the last one. Suppose it slips this way or rolls in and out. It won't work. So make sure you've got that sweet spot. Okay? All right, make sure this end is not too high up or too low. Okay? Make sure it's pushed away from you a little bit. And let's do the last sound. Here I go. Your turn. All right. Okay, hopefully that's going well for you. Again, you can watch this and see it a couple times just to make sure you're doing it right. Last thing is I'm going to play some rhythms, just like we did with the head joint, but now it's going to be the whole body, because you're going to have to get used to supporting this. Your arms might be a little tired after holding up the flute, so we're trying it without any fancy fingers on the keys yet. So we're just supporting the flute, keeping it in the right spot, and playing the rhythm. So here we go, some 4-beat rhythms. Here's number 1. Try that out. Did you notice that while I'm playing, I'm going to show you it the wrong way. You're going to notice this pretty quickly. That's a very, very common beginner thing. And if you're doing that right now, that's okay. It's pretty normal. But you want to try to match what I'm doing so that nothing's moving. Okay, so make sure you're trying to practice that while you're doing the rhythms. Okay, here's the second rhythm. Give it a shot. Okay, Are you noticing that the longer, I mean, we got all this going on, it takes a little more air, doesn't it? If you feel lightheaded, if you ever feel faint, you know, start seeing stars or feeling a little bit woozy, set your flute down someplace safe, close by, and just let yourself relax for a minute. Take deep breaths in through your nose and then back out through your mouth. That's how you relax your air, okay? Now for playing an instrument, you breathe in through your mouth, but to relax, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Get your breathing back. Okay, we're going to do one more rhythm, and that'll be it for this video. Okay, last rhythm. Try it. All right. Okay, and again, take as many watches as you need. You can watch this, you know, more times during class. You can watch this if you're having trouble. If you have access at home, again, you can watch it at home and show your parents so that they see what you're doing, and maybe they can even help you. Like maybe they see something that I'm doing and they can see that you're not doing it. Or you might look in a mirror. So you might watch the video and then run over to the mirror. Oh, walk with your flute, sorry. Walk over to the mirror and play it and ask yourself, does that look like what Mrs. Schmidt was doing? Okay? Take your time. It's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit of effort, but you're going to get it. Okay? Our next video will actually be putting our fingers on the keys. Okay. See you then.